yes, Brian.
Hi, yes.
Great to see you. Ready to roll with Citrix.
Great to see you as well.
Thank you for having the meeting today.
Of course.
Is it alright if I go ahead and take a seat?
Of course.
Thanks. And is it okay if I use some of your desk today?
Sure.
Alright. So again, I know how busy you are.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I want to thank you for the time. You mentioned we have about 20 minutes today. Does that still stand?
Yeah, I have a meeting in 20 minutes, so I have
Okay.
to run in 20.
Alright, it's okay. I'll make sure I add the most value for you then.
Okay.
As well as I want to make sure you had a copy of my card. Is it alright if I have one back?
Thank you very much. Yeah, of course.
Thank you. And so, have you gotten the chance to go travel over to China recently?
No, I haven't. I know Kyle's been going back and forth, but I'm more U.S. focused. I haven't made it out to China yet.
Okay, yeah, because I actually just booked a trip over to China. I was just wondering, does Kyle recommend any big sites that he goes to?
I don't know. Probably the Great Wall of China.
Wall of China?
I would assume is the biggest one to
Yeah.
see. But I know he thought the food was interesting, so
Yeah.
try some.
I'm
cuisine
very
for sure.
excited for the food.
Yeah.
But again, the goal for this meeting today is just so I can get a better understanding of your current operations, learn more about you, and ultimately see if there's a way that we can pair up and have Citrix make your life easier in a sense. So in order to get all that done in about 20 minutes today, I went ahead and made an agenda for us. So first, I'd like to just start off by just recapping my conversation with Kyle, making sure we're up to the same page on that. Then I want to get a better understanding for your current role as well as some of your operations.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about any challenges that you're running into, any areas of opportunities that you'd like to dive in and look into. Ultimately, then I'd like to talk about Citrix, who we are, what we can do, and take some time to show you the Zen desktop that both Steph and Kyle really like, and ultimately the benefits of it. So, how does all that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, I'm going to let you hold on to that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you'd like to see accomplished today?
No, I have a question though about the Zen desktop.
Okay.
I heard a little bit about it. So it's going on my employee's personal computer. So are they going to think that I'm spying on them?
Okay, so it's just your concern, just making sure that your employees know you're not spying on them?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that's a great concern. A lot of our other clients have asked that before as well. And the fact of the matter is that you can if you want. It depends on your level of security. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to have granular control over over the Zen desktop and see who all is going into the data center and whatnot.
Okay, so like if one of my employees is watching Netflix during office hours, is that something that I can monitor?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if I clarified that. It's only if they're on the Zen desktop application.
Okay.
So you have to log in and go to the data center in order for you to monitor what's going on.
Okay.
So if they are on Netflix or Facebook, that's completely on them.
Okay.
So does that answer your concern?
Yeah, that's
okay.
helpful.
And if you like everything that you see here today, what would be the next steps in our process?
Yeah, so after our meeting, I really like to meet with Kyle and Steph. I really value my employees' opinion, so if all goes well in our meeting today, I'll get together with them, make sure that everything you told me they said is correct, and they're all on board. I don't want to move forward and just tell them it's going to happen without getting their feedback.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if we can find value for the U.S. operations, we can go ahead with that. But if we found that it might drive value more outside of the U.S., we'd have to get some other people involved.
Okay, that sounds good. And who else would need to be involved if we go into China?
That would be the CEO of Elegis who needs to get involved.
What is their name?
That is Tom Kelly.
Tom? All right. And when you're typically bringing on a new product or service, what are the 1 to 2 things that you specifically look for that will create the most value for you?
Good question. Me as director of operations, my number one priority is equipping my directors with the tools they need to be successful in the role.
Okay.
So whether it be ensuring that they have the right tools to bring on new accounts, or support our potential candidates.
Okay.
Anything that my employees need to be successful and generate revenue for the business is what we look for in a vendor. If you can help with that, then that would go a long way.
That's exactly what I'm here to do today, to show you. And then as well as if we were to imply this system, are there any timing deadlines or any time that you'd like to have a system like this installed by and up and running?
For U.S. operations, it kind of, I guess, is dependent on the China project.
Okay.
We want to be the first to market in China in terms of a staffing agency.
So just overall, as soon as possible?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sounds good. And so just to recap on the meeting that I had with Kyle, I went ahead and brought the memo that I sent to him. He forwarded it over to you, but to give you a high level of just what we talked about. In the domestic, the big issue was he was going to have to spend a lot of money, about $30,000 to $40,000, replacing some of the old laptops, just because they couldn't upgrade to Microsoft Office, or they couldn't upgrade up. Mm-hmm. And then as well as the China problems was just they are a little bit more advanced than we are here in the United States right now. So we showed them about the dual authentication and the virtual desktops. So ultimately allowing them to conform and come together on what China's doing right now. Is that everything that he told you?
Yeah, I believe that's everything. Along with the tablets, I know one of the things that everyone's concerned about security in China. Tablets were just getting swiped left and right. So want to ensure that you have the security standards to make sure if God forbid someone's tablet does get taken, everyone's using black tablets over there now.
So yeah, just your concern is if someone steals one of your employees' tablets that all your data is going to be safe?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. So with the Zen desktop, I'm going to get into a demonstration and explain it all later, but all the information is held in a virtual data center.
Okay.
So none of the information will be on your employees' personal laptops or computers. They'll have to go through that dual authentication that we'll speak about later in order to access and view it. If you want to think about it like Netflix. So do you use Netflix?
No, I don't.
Okay. So what Netflix is, it's an online browser where you can watch a lot of different movies and TV shows. So you go in, and so you can go on your TV right here, the smart TV or any tablet or device, and you'll put in your information, so your username and password. And from there, you're going to stream and access all of the videos and movies in that data center. So you don't actually have you ever heard of Stranger Things before?
No.
Okay. It's just one of the big movies out on Netflix right now. But so you're going to have access to Stranger Things, and it's not in your house. You don't have the DV. So all that data and all that information is in the data center that you're viewing.
Gotcha.
So does that answer your concern about having the tablet?
Yeah. That
Okay.
makes sense.
So could you walk me through a little bit more about what your role is? I know you mentioned equipping your staff with the right tools, but what else do you do?
So day-to-day operations, I have about 20 directors, so Kyle is one of them.
Okay.
That reports to me, and he manages a team of about 10 to 15, depending. And their job is to bring on new accounts for us to staff, and then also find the potential candidates that fit that profile. So my day-to-day job is just ensuring that Kyle is reporting to me, Kyle and the other directors report up to me, that everything is going successful in their territory, and that I'm equiping them with all the tools they need to be successful in that role.
Right, that sounds good. And so what are some of the biggest challenges that you're running into?
Challenges here for US, I know you brought up the productivity piece.
Yes.
So taking away their laptops.
With the software updates?
Yeah, so that's, I believe that happens once a month. Where they're taking their laptops out for the day to do that.
Okay.
And then, there's it's the latest and greatest coming out, and having to update their laptops themselves.
Of course.
To ensure that they have those tools so they're fast and efficient. That's most for U.S. operations.
Okay.
But all the top execs are worried about China right now.
Okay.
So my main concern is what do I need to do with my U.S. operations to make sure that China runs smoothly.
Okay. Yeah, and I do want to come back and talk about the China operations first, but I first want to just dive in a little bit more about the U.S. operations. Sure. So with your employees, I think they said it was losing about 5% of revenue with taking that day away. Mm-hmm. So how does that affect your business when one of your employees has to take a whole day and, as Kyle mentioned to me, be unproductive?
Yeah, I mean, they're not calling into new accounts, right? So not generating money for me, which I don't like.
At the end of the day, just continue to grow the business. And so if there was a way that we could have it so they don't have to have their computers taken away, where an update could happen overnight and could be massively pushed out to all of your employees rather than your IT department going single-handedly to each one, how do you think that could benefit your business?
More money.
More money. All right. And again, you mentioned equipping them with the right tools. This is making sure they're always having their computers and they can be productive as possible.
Yes.
So does all that sound good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you mentioned some of the areas of opportunity with China. What are some of the big challenges that you're running into there?
Yeah, I know Kyle tells me sometimes it's difficult when they arrive at site and the potential employer is describing a candidate that they need, and Kyle might know that we have that candidate for them, but they don't have access to the information there right on site. So they're losing deals because of that.
Okay. And so how does losing deals when you don't have access to those resumes, how's that affecting Kyle and all your other managers?
Yeah, I mean, it's losing accounts for us.
Accounts?
And given we're trying to be the leading staffing agency and first to market in China, and when we don't have that information right away, it allows one of our competitors to come in and take that account from us. So certainly don't want that happening anymore.
Of course, and in a very tough market of staffing agency, there is a way that you could have access to all your resumes at any time, anywhere, on any device. What would that do for your business?
I think, again, more money, increased productivity, continue to become the leader in the staffing space, and that's something that's extremely important to us.
Okay.
And while we're on the topic of competition, I heard that VMware is suing Citrix.
Okay, could you help me understand a little bit more about what you've heard so far?
Yeah, I don't know. I forget who told me that. I heard it was some type of copywriting issue, Citrix copying what VMware is doing.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's actually the first time I've heard of it.
Okay.
But I will let you know, we have been the industry leader since we opened up in 1989. We have been continuing to innovate and go above and beyond the mean of manner. And so we work with about top 99% of the Fortune 100 companies and the top 98% with the Fortune 500 companies. We wouldn't have gotten to where we are and the reputation we have if we were, stealing information from others. So
That's a good point.
does that help clear up that concern?
Yeah,
Okay.
that does. I forget where it might have been a VMware sales rep that told me that, but if you have more information, as long as there's not a lawsuit going on, certainly we could talk about that later as well.
And so I have your card. After this meeting, I'll make sure that I reach out to our legal department and send you over all the information if that is actually happening.
Okay.
Okay, does that sound good?
Yeah,
okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Not a problem. And so again, just to summarize what we talked about so far today, your big concern are first in domestic with having your 20 directors and managers. You don't like that they're taking away their laptop one day a month just because of software updates. There's a way that we could push all of them out at the same time, make sure that they don't have to, the IT doesn't have to take away their laptops. Again, it will increase more money. And then as well with China, we're just having the issue of not being able to access the resumes. So if there's a way that we could have a virtual desktop where they could access all the resumes anytime, anywhere, on any device, again, it would put you a competitive edge in that competitive staffing agency. And so ultimately at the end of the day, again, you said equipping with the right tools. So if we could give you all of this, is that something you think would be worthwhile?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, well that's exactly what I'm here for to do today. So before I begin, how much do you know about Citrix so far?
Not so much. Just what I heard from that VMware sales rep, but
Okay.
I don't know how much of it is true, so happy to hear it from you.
All right, well I'm happy to clear up all the concerns. And so at Citrix, our main goal is to make the world's applications and data easy to access in a secure fashion. Okay. We work with over 400,000 organizations, and again, as I mentioned, we work with 99% of the Fortune 100 and 98% of the Fortune 500. The product that I want to show you today actually won the 2017 Users Developers Choice Award, and it's the Zen Desktop. So what it is, it's a virtual desktop solution that will allow your employees to access their work applications and work files from virtually anywhere on any device at any time. So one of the things you mentioned was with the China project, not being able to access your resumes. So with this, I actually have a demonstration where we can go in and access all of it. And so I'm going to get to that in a second. Okay. And then as well as you mentioned with the software updates. So with the IT department, what they can do is since all the data is stored in the data center, they can easily push out all the software updates at a scheduled time, and they can have it done in a fraction amount of time. So how does all that sound so far?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, would you like to go ahead and see the demonstration?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to see it.
All right, cool. And so again, so what we're doing here is you can access it on any device. And so I'm going to use a tablet, an iPad, just for the speaking of this.
That's what everyone's using it.
All right. So just log in, and then you go through your dual authentication, which we talked about. So you have your screen like Netflix, where you use your username and password, and then you'll have a second screen where you'll have to insert a token. And that token is a 6-digit password that changes every time you go in to insert onto the data center. So here we are, you'll come up and then here's all your applications. Also note, Kyle wanted to make sure that he could access all Windows applications on an iOS system. So we're on an iPad accessing Microsoft products and Windows products. So as you can see, here's all your applications. And so if you need to access your work computer, if you want to go ahead and get into your Windows desktop. And so as it's loading now, it's going back and retrieving the information from the data center. So like we said on about Netflix, is we're not actually... Oh, I got disconnected from the internet. We're not actually going in and having the data on our tablets, but we're actually going into the data center and virtually pulling it up.
Okay.
So there seems to be a small problem with my connection in the hotel.
No problem.
Let's try that one more time real quick. If you want to go ahead and try clicking that. See if it goes through for us. There it goes. And so At the moment, though, how does all this sound so far?
Yeah, it looks good, and if this is something that was important to Kyle, then I'm glad I'm seeing this because I want to make sure Kyle is happy.
Yeah. Okay, and again, you mentioned equipping them with the right tools.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are, you're easily accessing all the information in our data center, and so it's like you're basically at your work computer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go ahead and click up here and get into your files, and so let's say you need to pull up a resume. Oh, there it goes. And so if you need to pull up a resume, why don't you just go ahead and go into Word, for example. Oh, you might have clicked out of it. If you want to go ahead and try that again. Yep, and just, oh. All right, and just click on Word.
Perfect.
And then bam. And if you just want to scroll down a little bit, and you can find exactly which resume you're looking for. And if you just want to go ahead and click on a random one, like that one, for example. And then so there's your sales reps showing the resumes anywhere, anytime on any device.
That's great.
So what do you think about all that so far?
Yeah, I think that would be super helpful for the China project.
Okay. And so just to recap everything we've talked about today, because we've done a lot, we talked about the big concerns with the software updates for domestic as well as for China, just being able to have a virtual desktop. We showed you with the software updates that your data center is easily able to push out, roll out updates from any time, so they can do it overnight while your employees are sleeping, instead of taking that computer, which will give them back that 5% revenue.
Yeah.
We spoke about giving them the right tools of the virtual desktop, which again is something that China has right now, and they're really big on. They're able to access their resumes wherever they need, and they can increase their profitability and ultimately grow your business. So how does all this sound to you so far?
Yeah, that all sounds great.
All right, is there anything else holding us back from taking the next step?
Yeah, I have one question.
Okay.
So if you have one of my competitors as a client, so one of Aerotech's competitors, am I going to be able to access their data?
Okay, so it's just your concern making sure that no one else can access your data and you can't access anyone else's data?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Of course, all your data is secure, so none of your other competitors can access your data because it's secure in your data center, which is in your corporate office.
Okay.
So you're just virtually going to be able to access all of your data anywhere from that data center.
Okay, so only the Aerotech information.
Correct.
Okay.
So does that answer your concern?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fair enough.
All right. So is there anything else holding us back from going ahead and setting up that next meeting or getting this possibly installed?
Yeah, definitely won't be able to move forward with implementing anything.
Okay.
I really would like to meet with Kyle and Steph. As I said, I really want to make sure that they're on board, and I appreciate you bringing me up to speed on their meetings, but I want to hear it from them.
Okay.
Kind of get their feedback and make sure we're all on the same page. I'm not the boss who just says this is what we're doing without getting their information.
Right.
So I'd like to speak with them,
Okay.
and then I could call you back once I have their feedback.
Okay. Again, this is something that they both saw beneficial. They saw this time and savings from it. It's going to make their life easier. You mentioned some of the challenges that you had as well with the software updates and the getting the resumes on there.
Yeah.
You said beneficially this would work, and you want something like this as soon as possible. So
Yeah.
I propose, why don't we go ahead and set up a meeting for Monday morning at 9 a.m., see if they can both make it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Randy. What I would like to do is just meet with them first, maybe on Monday or Tuesday,
Okay.
speak with Steph and Kyle, and then we could get back with you. I'd like to just speak with them in private first.
Okay, and that all makes sense. Is it all right if I go ahead and call you on Wednesday at about 10 a.m. just to see where you're at in the process, if we can schedule that meeting?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, Wednesday at 10 a.m. And then I know you mentioned if you liked everything, this could possibly be something we could bring Tom in to get on the China project.
Yeah.
If we were to sit down with Tom, what are some of his big concerns that he'd like to see?
Good question. I think Tom is, of course, more on a global scale.
Of course.
So looking if I see value in the U.S. operations, and then we could see that they could bring more value to China as well as the other countries we are trying to enter.
Okay.
I think showing how you could scale across the globe would be something that would be valuable to Tom.
Okay. And is there anything else that he would like to see in particular? Maybe a lot more numbers or reviews on what we've done for some of our customers?
Yeah, from what I hear, Tom is a numbers guy.
Numbers guy?
So maybe if we could bring some of those to that meeting, if it makes sense. I want to meet with Kyle and
Of
Steph
course,
first, and
of
then
course.
if it makes sense to bring it to Tom after that, I can get back and bring it to Tom.
Okay, that all sounds good. And I do want to make sure that you have stuff to take back and you can review with
Sure.
all of them. So again, you can keep the pamphlet that explains everything and some of our other accolades. You can keep the memo and then as well as our agenda with any notes that you took today.
Perfect.
All right.
That's great.
Is there anything else that I can do for you?
No, this is all great. I'll get with Kyle and Steph and get their feedback, and then we can meet on Wednesday.
All right, that sounds good. Well, thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Randy.
I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. How's your day going?
Good. How's yours?
It's going well.
Good.
It's just, it's hot. I'm
Yeah.
sweating.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So-
What your school?
Kent State.
Awesome.
So, thank you.
Well, great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, I've been talking with Ben a lot.